make it, but we here. Started from the bottom, now we looking top tier. Know that we the chose, so they made us feel the fear. I see God appear when I look into the mirror. I know that I'm the chose, yeah. And it's time to give us back the identity they stole. Rest in peace to the nigga that they try to make him me. Gotta elevate these bones, cause we the stand. Waking up the dead so they finally understand it. Now look at what is wrong, cream of the crop. No matter the problem, we rising to the top. I'm the progeny, God stand.
Welcome back to another episode of the God Standard Podcast. This is episode number 19. Thank you for being here with us. For those of you who are new here on the God Standard Podcast, our goal is to bring light and life to the original people of the planet by sharing stories and conversations with regular people just like you, just like me, who have used the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to uplift themselves, uplift their life, their community, and become gods in their own respective lane. I am so excited for this episode. I am honored to have our brother Jameel Best on the show with us today, and we will be discussing ensuring a clear future. And we're doing that, talking about how we're going to do that through, development, financial development, spiritual development, etc., etc. So welcome to the show, and thank you for being here. Thank you for your time.
Sister, thank you for having me. So I had to reach out to my sister. Like, I saw you was doing your thing. I was like, man, listen, let me go ahead and hit her up and ask, can I get on the show?
Yes,
You're doing a good. This is an amazing show, especially your consistency. Like, you just consistent. Because I went all the way to the beginning. I was like, man, this is just like going at it like week after week. So I appreciate you having me on for sure.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's learn a little bit about our brother. So I'm going to give a little intro. Jameel Best is a financial planner and director at Integrity Marketing Group with 2 years of rapid growth in the financial service industry. A proud HBCU graduate and former law enforcement officer, Jameel inspires others to take control of their finances and protect their families through finance and development. Having lived around the world due to his father's basketball career, he brings a unique global perspective to his work, empowering mentally able people to create spiritual and financial change for themselves and their families. So I want to know, I was intrigued about the, international part about it, about your bio. Can you share, is there a place that you really, really liked in relation to everywhere else?
Yeah. Well, so my father played, shout out to my dad, but he played professional overseas basketball for about 18 years, right? So we lived all over, right? We lived in like France, multiple places in France, multiple places in Germany, Switzerland, Philippines. And I guess the one that I really liked living in France. France is like a really but you got people who like go visit overseas, and then living overseas is visiting and living is two completely different things, right? And so living, I'd say I kind of liked France the most. Like, we lived in this city called Chalon-sur-Saône, which means city over the river.
Okay.
And it was like this big river that flowed through the city, and he played basketball, so we went to the games, and just life over there is just completely different. So if I had to choose, it'd probably be living in France for sure.
Okay, nice. So is there a fundamental takeaway that you have from your upbringing that helps you right now in what you do every day? Like, if there's just if you could consolidate it to one thing, like a fundamental takeaway.
Just understanding that it's a huge world out, it's a huge planet. So you got people who, let's say, unfortunately, or at least where they're at right now in life, let's say they may not have ever. You got some people who ain't never stepped foot outside of their city.
Right.
You got people who have never stepped outside of their state. You got people who have never been outside of the country. And so it's just it definitely has helped me um it definitely has helped me to, I guess, be able to, just work with different people, like on the spiritual side and also in the business side. Like in my business, I don't want to just, obviously I want to work with my people, but it's business. Money is green. I want to work with everybody. And
Right.
so, like, if you get in front of, let's say, a Caucasian person, Hispanic person, something like that, if you don't know how to, like, kind of, transcend that color barrier and connect with them and build something what we call ARC, then it's like it might hinder your performance in selling with them. And then, as far as what I do spiritually, with studying some of the works of L. Ron Hubbard, we right down the street is this place called Flag, where it's this #1 spiritual development center on the entire planet.
Right.
And it's not just black people up in there, it's like it's everybody, so you kind of gotta be able to connect, because when you can connect, you just get open, exposed to different, just different resources and different, rooms that you would never be in if you solely was just trying, solely was just kind of like one track minded, if that makes sense. So I definitely was blessed in that regard, and everything happens for a reason, obviously. And so that definitely gave me, that definitely gives me a leg up, I'd say. So shout out to Dad. He definitely did his thing.
Yeah, I always say that, I think one of the best ways, probably other than investing, to spend your money is in traveling, because I think in traveling there's such rich experiences, and I feel like kind of like what you said, right? Like our perspective opens so much just by interacting with other people, like tasting other foods, how people culturally interact amongst themselves and whatnot. So it's super super important to
Yeah, for sure.
and your scope of awareness, right?
For sure, for sure.
And you mentioned Flag. I when Sister Naira was on the podcast, I mentioned to her, because when I was there, like, it was so beautiful to see like all of the people from different races and different men, women, young, old, like all coming around to support her. And that was like such a beautiful thing, because it's like, if we're all trying to get well, we're all trying to get really matter. It doesn't really matter, like, this,
Yeah,
right, of the things that we kind of make so important, make so big.
yeah, for sure.
So you're a nation baby. You're born into the Nation of Islam. Can you share about how that has shaped you, your perspective, how that has shaped just the way you view yourself, the way you view the world, and just maybe your value system?
Yeah, oh man, yeah, for sure. I mean, it gave me my, like, foundation, growing up. And, like, obviously it's like, once you've been exposed to the light, it's kind of like you can never, like, not have been exposed to the light, like, no matter, we all go, live our life, and, we might go here, go there, but it's just like when you were exposed to the nation in the teachings, of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Farad Muhammad, Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's just like you can't, like, to this day, like when I hear the minister speak, like when I listen to his lectures, it just kind of like brings me back to a pleasure moment of, like, growing up. So I guess, I mean, the biggest one that's been with me for forever is that, nobody's coming to save you, in the sense of, do for self. Like, you have to do for self. If you sitting around, waiting for somebody magical to just come out of the blue and just, like, wave a wand and say, hey, it's gonna, life is like, that doesn't exist.
Right.
You have to get up and go do it. And so I think that was the biggest thing for me, that just, I mean, it's so, I could write a whole book right now, but,
Yeah.
if I could just pick one thing, is definitely do for self. I forgot that. Well, what was the rest of the question, sister? As you said, what's the one
Well,
thing that's
kind
affected
of,
me?
but yeah, how has it shaped like your value system and how you see
Mhm.
yourself in the world?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just doing for self, 100%. And then, like, I know, like, I mean, the black man is God.
Right.
That's always been there. And so when I walk into a room, especially like being at, at Flag, now granted, I love everybody. Like, don't get it twisted. Everybody cool and stuff. But, like, I feel like when I walk into the room, the temperature changes. Like, but the black man is God. That's how I really feel.
Right.
And so I could never, and then, shout out to, just my family. Like, to start out with, my grandmother, she was a captain of the MGT out of Memphis, Tennessee. So I mean, prior to 70, I mean, growing up, you always say prior to 75, and
Right.
like so it's just like that was like rooted in my upbringing, and then my mother, and just and my mother and my father just like every Sunday, going out to the mosque, going to FOI class with my dad, just like all that, seeing my sisters wearing, their garment, going out with mama on Saturday, the MGT class, like that was like my upbringing. And so no matter where I go, no matter how many hands I shake, no matter what rooms I'm in, I mean, especially being here in Clearwater, I mean, it's times like literally room full of 40, 50 people. I'm the only black person, right? And it's just like, but I know who I am. And so when I get up and talk and I shake hands, it's like my chest out, like, yeah, I'm him. Like, like, and so that definitely has been my, that's definitely been something that and do for self. Like nobody's coming to save you. Like it's your responsibility, So that's that for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Great answer. Shout out to the audience. Thank you all for watching. If you all have any questions, feel free to put it down in the comment box below, and I will,
I'm saying we got an audience in here. Okay, hey, and since I feel like a celebrity over
We're
here.
star. Okay, so I want to touch on law enforcement. That was very interesting to me. Like, what inspired you to do that? What inspired you to do that earlier on in your career?
One of the recent things that I've learned, because I'm doing a lot of studying down here. Shout out to Sister Nair. We definitely got to have a small segment on Sister Nair too.
Right.
She's amazing. No, one of the things I'm studying here is, one of the rules to happiness is be willing to experience anything, right? And so with law enforcement, I was it was kind of a connection thing. My father was real tight with the sheriff, like the sheriff of the entire like Shelby County. He was a brother. And I ain't gonna get into details, but long story short, got set up with a job. And I was just looking. It was this, I think, how old was I? I think I was like 26 or something like that. And I was just like, man, listen, I'm gonna get in here. I'm a sheriff, and anything I do is like, okay, I'm seeing the long term, like how can I exert maximum power. So in my brain, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be the sheriff of Shelby County one day, But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it. And it was cool. I got into the academy. I got in. I won I was the overall best recruit, and then I was I won the most athletic award. So like I got in there, started doing my thing. But law enforcement is not a place for a brother, in my opinion. Because it's like, especially because you get, if I can speak freely, like you get set in certain situations where because where I was working, we was in the country too, so it's predominantly white. And then this, if I'm keeping it real, I don't shuck and jive, right? So it's I don't shuck and jive. I'm very articulate. And so it's just like when I was working with some of my coworkers, we would get in certain situations. Let's say we in a black community or a black area or something. It's certain things that I understand, but you got to be a part of the culture to understand. But then at the same time, I'm in the law enforcement culture as well. And so I was kind of like in between, but obviously I'm aside with my culture. You feel what I'm saying? And so it's just like, it just kind of got to a situation where I kind of had a target on my back for the people who I was working with. And I just ended up just saying, yeah, this not for me. And so I ended up putting in my 2 weeks. I was there for about 2.5 years. And I was the first person to like walk away from the job. They said in like 26 years, they had never had somebody put in a letter of resignation. And so it was cool. It taught me some very valuable lessons. It taught me, proper handling of people. Like you can like literally, I don't care, 99% of the people who I was working with, I mean, like the public, if you know how to, speak with them and, properly handle them, you can bring most people down. But the problem with law enforcement is that you got a lot of people who are really afraid, and they shouldn't be wearing no badge. And that's where a lot of those situations come from, because they're really afraid when they get in situations, they don't know how to talk to people. And so that's what that was.
Right. Wow. Praise be to Allah. It's good. It's good to see the effects of having a firm foundation in yourself and know who you are, because in a situation like that, a lot of people, like, there's countless stories of people who have stayed in jobs and stayed in positions that they hate, that doesn't serve them, where there's constant like conflict, like what you said, like it's baseline conflict, like fundamental conflict, right? But people will stay there because
Yeah.
it's comfortable, or because you have a pension, or XYZ, right? So
Boy, man, please look. No, but can I give you a quick story though?
absolutely.
So like this is what I mean when I say fear, right? Oh, is that brother Oh, brother Mahdi. Assalamu alaikum, bro. Brother David, what's going on? I just saw the comments popped up.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
yes,
Oh snap, man, we got an audience over here. Okay, man, listen, I'm with a celebrity right now. All right,
yeah,
but
good.
no, seriously, no, like that's what I'm talking about, like with fear. That
Yes,
fear plays a big part, in law enforcement, right? In the sense that, you got people who, because they have a badge on, that means you're supposed to naturally be respected. Like,
right,
don't nobody get no, it's 2025. Don't nobody care about, nobody care about that, right? It's
yeah,
about who are you as a man. And so, like my first day getting, because we rode when something called with the field training officers, where like they, you graduate from the academy, and then for 3 months you got to ride with somebody who's
right,
been, in it for a minute. And so long story short, the day I got cut loose on my own July 4th. Okay.
wow,
July 4th, like with like
yes,
crazy day, right? And this is
yes,
the day before my birthday. And so long story short, I get a call in a part of Shelby County, predominantly Black. And basically it was two brothers out there fighting,
right,
right? Two brothers out there fighting. And so long story short, I mean, like I said, sis, this is my first call
yeah,
like on my own, right?
right,
And so I pull up, and Black neighborhood, everybody out popping fireworks and stuff, but we get a call that somebody, folks was fighting, and it was at a house. So that's basically considered like a domestic thing. So those are
right,
taken with very, very, with importance. And so long story short, I pull up, got my lights on, the whole block went quiet. Like everybody stopped and was looking at me. I'm like, oh
right,
shit. And so I'll pull up, two brothers. I mean, one like 6'4", 6'3", so they tall, they got their shirts off, big dudes and stuff. And so to put it in perspective, I'm jump out. I'm 6'9", 250. I come from the culture, but imagine if it was like, some 5'10" white dude. Just you think about that. Like, so immediately he come in, he might be afraid. Me, long story short, start chopping it up with him, talked him down, and I was able to just connect with him. And come to find out, they were fighting because the younger brother had disrespected the mama, disrespected their mom. And so the older brother was basically, getting him right.
right,
Right. And then somebody ended up calling the police. But the whole fact of the matter, I was able to communicate. And I'm like, bro, and I got out the car and I'm like, bro, what the hell y'all fighting for? Like, that's literally how I was talking to him. Like,
yeah,
I'm like an extended family member. Right. So I'm like, bro, what the hell y'all fighting for? Like, why are y'all fighting? Like, what's the issue? And then I was able to listen to each side. And then at the end, we both was basically getting on the little brother, like, bro, you're not supposed to be disrespecting your mama. And at the end of it, they invited me inside, gave me a whole plate of food, 2 plates of food, and I put it. But imagine if that was somebody else, and the first thing I'm pull up to the scene, I got my gun out,
right,
because
for
you see
sure.
what I'm saying. That's where a lot of the situations come from, and so, but eventually, I just end up having to walk away from that. So.
Right, right, right. Well, I respect that for sure. Absolutely. So can we get into, like, what does personal development, like, what role does personal development play in your life, and how does it affect you, like your business, your career?
Personal development. Oh man, I'm always developing. Like you never can like. I I personally feel like if you feel like you know everything, then you did all of the work and you ain't got nothing to do. You really blocking yourself off from learning. I just learned that in this little $35 flimsy little book. And
Right,
it's called I think it's called the Basic Study. That's not the one, but it's called Basic Study Manual. But it's like a student who feels like he knows everything, that he knows everything,
right.
he's really blocking himself off from
Absolutely.
actually learning. And so now I'm always, personal development is very important, especially learning from, Brother David. Shout out, Brother David. and Sister Naira Muhammad, they have played such a big role in my life. Even with me moving here, like me moving from Jackson, Tennessee to, getting here to Clearwater, that's like a form of development. And shout out to my team in Jackson, shout out to the people I know in Jackson. But it's just like, for me as a spiritual being, I had to get here, and so I could continue to develop, because if you're not growing, then you're really dying, and so I feel like, you can be like my mentor. He's been in insurance for 5 decades, right? And he's 70 something years old. He's been in insurance 5 decades. And to this day, he'll tell you, yeah, I probably only know about 75% of what there is to know, because insurance is the backbone of the country, And so when I put that into perspective, I'm just like, yeah, it's just like, I should always be developing, whether it's physically, how much can, fasting, financially, how much can I go make in a month? How much can I put away? What can I, do to, I want to touch base with Brother Mark, because I want to, really dive into this credit piece. What can I do spiritually? What more can I learn? How many hours can I put in at Flag this week? Like, just stuff like that. Like, I'm always consistently developing, and I keep an open mind to things that make sense.
Right. And that's so important. Like, that's so important to keep on developing, because it's like, sometimes I don't understand, personally. And for me, like, coming into the nation, that was one of the things that resonated so deeply with me, the development, because I've always had that. And I never understood people just being like flatline, like, this is just what we do. Like, we just do the same thing every single day.
That's human beings for you, man. It's it ain't just a nation thing. It's not just a nation. Just people. People just, you got people who, are, and that's where it comes from. Because I know you were saying the stuff about mentally able. You was like, man, mentally able. What this brother talking about? But that's kind of hits on that. And I actually learned that, like, Brother David, he told me that when I came down here in July, and he mentioned that about, some of this, the technology that we have. Hey, mama. I'm sorry. I see my mama. Look, hey, that's my baby right there. But no, he told me this, and it stuck with me, and I even implemented that in, like, my business. But it's just like, the tech here, it helps, people who are already mentally able just become more able, because a lot of concepts in life, not just in the tech, everybody can't really grasp. And so the folks who are already kind of mentally able, who are able to, like, grasp certain, concepts that might not be, socially, I guess you say, accepted or normal, we just help those people to become more able. And so I consider myself a mentally able person. So if stuff makes sense, it's just like, hey, let's see where it goes, man. I'm 30, so.
It's funny. I was going to get into that question next about mentally able, but
I knew it was coming. She going for the jugular.
When you said it to me, and I've heard it before, because, like, I study as well and stuff like that, and I've heard it before, but we're not supposed to go past, we're not supposed to go past the word, but I guess I went past it, because when you said, like,
well, who he think he is? Like, what you talking about, mentally able?
But in going back and trying to understand it and define the word, like, I understand what it means. I understand what it means, and I understand the concept and idea. I think my issue with it was just that I feel like, and this is my own thing. This is just
that's okay. Go ahead. I told you, look, I'm open books. It's all good.
I feel like, on a personal level, I feel like, to some level, the people who are able have somewhat of an, and I'm still wrestling with this, have somewhat of an obligation to help the others, you know what I mean? So that's me still wrestling with it. I'm a child and youth worker, so, like,
for sure.
Like, I just want to help.
No, for sure. I'm gonna tell you, like, and like I said, shout out to Brother David, because when he told me that, you can just hear, like, brother, if you've ever met Brother David, he one of those brothers, man. He don't say a whole lot, but when he talk, he's saying a whole lot. And so when he said that to me, because he told me when I came, he's like, yeah, it just helps mentally able to come. I just took that and applied it to my concept of, like, even with my business and what we do, helping mentally able people become more able. Right. But just to speak on what you're talking about, obviously we want to help everybody. financially, spiritually, right? Physically, right? Whatever it might be. But oh, I'm sorry. Whatever it might be. But the whole fact of the matter, like, Harriet Tubman, right? I know Sister Nair we were just on the call. That's why we gotta have a segment we gotta have a small 5-minute segment about Sister Nair, just so I can just talk about how great she is. But we were just on a call, I think, was it Sunday or something like that. But she made it was talking about Harriet Tubman. Mm-hmm. And she was like, she made a quote. She said, Harriet Tubman said that, what was it? I could have freed 1,000 slaves. I freed thousands of slaves.
Yes.
And I could have freed thousands more if only they knew they were slaves. Right.
Right.
And now imagine if Harriet Tubman, like, will we even be talking about Harriet Tubman if, let's say, early on, she was worried about our ancestors who were comfortable with being slaves.
Right.
You had some who were like that.
Right.
I got a good life. Master take care of everything. All I got to do is go to work and that's the reality of the situation.
Right.
Now imagine, like, will we even be talking about Harriet Tubman if early on she was wasting time trying to convince slaves that, hey, there's a better life for us. Let's get on down.
Right.
She ain't waste time with them. She said she worked with the ones who was ready to go. Let's dip. And so, because why? They were mentally able enough to realize, yo, this ain't it. I need something better. Okay, she talking about some stuff that's gonna help me. Let me dip. So, like, prime example, Brother Mark, credit. Now, insurance is my game. Insurance, retirement, annuities. That's my game. I don't know a whole lot about credit in the ins and
All right, guys, I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We're going to just wait a few minutes for our brother to come back. I see it trying to load. If you are enjoying this episode so far, you could like, comment, share. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And when our brother gets back on the stream, we will ask him those questions. Just bear with us.
I'm coming back.
I think he's coming out to come back in. Bear with us, please. I see our brother right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry. I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb.
That's
and
okay.
Somebody. So I'm telling you, look, the devil, he trying to look, he working, man. Look, he don't want us over here. He don't want us up here talking. I just put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Hopefully I don't know why. I thought my phone was on Do Not Disturb. But what was I saying? I don't even forget. Oh yeah. Brother, but like I said, Brother Mark, like, I don't need no convincing on that. Like, you got to sit up when you got to convince somebody, that's a waste of time. I don't waste time. So it's not like I don't want to work with the people who are not, like, I want to work with everybody, but I realize in what I'm going to accomplish in life, I don't have time to try to convince. If you want to, like, in my perspective, if you want to, if you want to get on track for retirement and retire and stay retired, and you don't want to lose money in the market, and so you don't have to be like the other 70% of retirement age people who are going to be working till they die, you probably should work with me. If I got to convince you on that, that's a waste of my time. I can be working with somebody else. That's it. Same thing with Sister Naira. Everybody should be trying to work with Naira and Brother David.
Right.
The minister already put the stamp on it. So what is it like? Like, what do they need to convince you for? That Brother David and Nair, they did not convince me. They didn't pay me $20,000 to come and move and do all this. No. Sister Nair, she called me and she said, she's like, brother, she was like, they're making people into gods here. That's what she literally what she told me. Do you got to convince me on that? No, I'm going to come down here, So that's all that means, is just helping mentally able people to become more able. Everybody's not mentally able. It's just the truth of the matter. And it's nothing against them. They don't make them bad people or anything like that. The goal is just to work with people who are mentally able so they can become more able.
Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I hope we cleared that word for you.
No, I totally understand. You have to have a willing body. It doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
can you speak to that since we're on the topic? Can you speak to like your work that you're doing at Flag, working with Sister Nair and Brother David? Like, how has that transformed your life? How long have you been at it? Can you share it with us?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I got on the bridge. We call it the bridge to total freedom, and that's just basically the track that the track that you go on to level up your spiritual being, your spiritual beingness. Right? Got on it. I think 2 years ago. I started this book called Science to Survival, and it started changing my life. Right, I was going through a divorce, and it was just a lot of just stuff going on. And so, long story short, fast forward to earlier this year, I was leaving from the Church of Scientology in Nashville, and I was on the road on the way back. When my mama called me, because I had met Sister Nair, I think like 3 years prior,
Right.
and my mom calls me. She says, Jameel, she was like, you remember Sister Naira? I said, yes, ma'am. And she was like, yeah. She was like, she gonna be calling you because she want us to come to come to Flag. And I'm like, what's
Right.
Flag? Like, what? Like, what's that? She was like, my mom, that's my baby. She's the one person who, like, if she tell me some stuff, I'm actually going to listen and really
Right.
like. And so she was like, I don't know what it is, really. She said, it's just someplace important. You need to get in touch with Sister Naira. I was like, yes, ma'am. So get in
Right.
touch with Sister Naira. She calls me, and that's what she told me. She said, brother, they making people into gods here.
Right.
So I'm just like, what? I'm like, huh? So talking to me, I'm just like, yo, okay,
Right.
bet. And so and then she told me, she's like, move your schedule around. You need to come, in July. And so I'm like, that was like 3 weeks 3 weeks from now. So I was like, sis, like, I can't do that. She was like, brother, make it happen. And
Right.
I'm like, damn. I'm like, all right. And that was it. But I respect it though. And
Right.
so we came down, me and my mama, we made it.
Ah, it happened again. He will be back. It's a good show so far, though. There he is.
Oh, I have no idea what's going on. Like, my phone is literally on do not disturb. I don't know why I'm getting calls. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, like, it's real. It's real.
Fine.
Like, you start talking good stuff, and then people, stuff start coming in. But anyways, long story short, come down. Life started trying to get in the way. Me and my mom still made it happen. We
Right.
came down together, routed in the Flag, and it's like a real big, like security wise, can't everybody like get in the Flag? Like,
Right.
literally, I was asking a lady about the numbers, and it's like out of the entire planet, it's like 8,500 people who are like able to get into Flag or something like that out of 8 billion.
Right.
So if you can get in the Flag, that's like big time. And so ever since then, though, I made the decision to move. And yeah, sister, I mean, that they really are making people into God here. Like, and this is coming from me. Like, I'm a very thorough, like, critical. I don't move unless I really see it makes sense. I don't really make a lot of decisions based off of emotion type of person.
Right.
But when I say that they making people into gods here, they really are. Like, and these, and I'm talking about, it's people don't even speak English,
Right.
dropping, like, I mean, like, really making stuff happen. And so, I'm just blessed to in this lifetime to be connected to, people like my mom,
Right.
who would connect me to Sister Naira and Brother David and all of the people that they've, allowed me, have created a bridge for me to be in. Because obviously, like, I'm down here establishing an insurance firm from scratch. That's not easy work, and so, they've allowed for me to just be down here and have a bridge there, to make things happen. And so it's a blessing to be connected to people like them while I get myself together, get my business, going, and yeah, but it's amazing though, and it all applies to my life and my business, the stuff that I'm learning, so it's
Absolutely.
really amazing.
Yeah, I definitely love that about, just the technology, the information as a whole, like it really applies directly to your life. And I'm just
Sis,
like, I'm
sis,
on some
what?
extension courses, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes perfect sense. Like, it all just puts all the pieces together. So amazing. So
And
amazing.
that's why the minister, not that I know you from move forward, but that's why the minister told us, like, you need to, like, I don't know if it was a direct order or if it was a, hey, I'm heavily encouraging, but either
Right.
way, if the minister said, and this is what my grandma said, and this is why we've been, attached to the tech for
Right.
so long, because we got attached. I think when the minister came out and said that, I think I was like in the ninth grade or something, 10th
Right.
grade. I'm sure my mom will hop on and correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong. but no, like my grandmama is the one who has connected us to the bridge, because she said,
Okay.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, whatever he tells you to do, you do.
Right. Absolutely.
Period. You
Absolutely.
know, it's kind of, and so like not doing what he said to do is kind of like in direct opposition of that, in a
Period.
sense, you know.
Period.
I mean, look, hey, I'm the type of person. Listen, you can ask about me, sis. I call it how it is, right?
Right.
But like, if you think about it, and so that's what my grandmother said, and then another thing she said, if you know, shout out, Sister Rashida, that's my Gigi. I was 15. Yeah, my mom just can't. I told you she'd hop on, but no, she also said she was, and this was great. She was just saying it's kind of similar to somebody, let's say, who might be struggling with weight loss, right? Who's in the nation. This is what my grandma said, or
Yeah.
either it was my mom. But she said, somebody who in the nation who is struggling with weight loss,
Right.
right? If that person's struggling with weight loss, what will we refer to them out of our doctrine? How to eat to live.
Absolutely.
Now, if they say, well, that ain't my cup of tea. All right, yeah, how to eat to live. I mean, then we'll look at them like, bro, you
Yeah.
crazy. Right? So how is it any different? It's not. It's not any different,
Right.
right? And so, but like I said, we work with mentally able people. Everybody's not mentally able, right? And
Right.
so for the mentally able people who can see, like how you just said, man, this makes perfect sense.
Right.
Nobody got to tell you that it makes perfect sense. It's true for you,
Absolutely.
And so that's a big deal. And I'm so thankful for the minister for like having the courage to like step up in front of the entire nation and give us something that's so powerful, and
Absolutely.
it's ours,
Right.
so I'm
Right.
thankful for the minister for having that courage. Like it ain't nobody who got courage like that. Like that's
Absolutely.
a very brave man. So yeah.
All praises due to Allah. All praises due to
Man.
Allah. And I was even saying at one point, I think I was saying it on the episode with Sister Naira, that how much wisdom and connection to Allah the minister had to have to give us the tech when he did. And then like COVID happens and turns everything upside down. Everybody's like losing their minds, you know what I mean? And we have this in advance. We have people who are already in it. We have people who, can run to something, or, have something in place to,
Yes.
you know, um to mitigate all the issues that came with COVID and everything else that, the world brings. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
And if I can put in too, flag is just one place, right? Flag
Right.
is like, for Scientologists, it's kind of like the Mecca almost,
Right.
right? But there are other places in, so like if you're in Chicago, there's an org in Chicago. It just
Right.
opened up. You can go there. If you're in, in California, if you're in Cincinnati, wherever, just go and mention Sister Naira.
Right. Right. Right.
Everybody, listen. Everybody in Scientology, you say
Right.
Sister Naira, you can be in Puerto Rico
Right.
and say Naira. They probably gonna know Naira, but like wherever you at, just go and just say, "Hey, I'm with Sister Naira. I'm with Repair the Black Family."
Right.
And listen, I'm trying to get some of what y'all got, because everybody talking about how good this is, and I'm telling you, they're gonna get you. So just go in there and mention Sister Naira's name, and boom, But definitely, I definitely encourage, especially like brothers, like, I mean, everybody need, but like fathers, husbands, all of the stuff you've been through in life, and all of these things that directly, sometimes those things can key in when you're dealing with your wife, when you're dealing with, your children. That's some stuff I found for myself, right?
Right.
And so it's
Right.
just like, you gotta, it's just something that will really benefit you. So
Absolutely. And I love that you speak on that, because I think black men's mental health is something that, like, now it's kind of popular to like talk about and bring to the forefront. But like, the black man in America has been through a lot. Like, as a people, yes, but the black man specifically in America has been through a lot and has to fight a lot just in everyday life. So when it comes to your mental health, it's so important to take it seriously and understand that the systems that are in place are not for us. So
Yeah.
even when you go to the psychiatric system and whatnot, the medical system, they're not going to actually help you because that's not what they're designed to do, right? So it's best
No,
to go as deep within as you can.
bro. And I mean,
And
you really do got some. You really. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to cut you off.
no, go ahead.
No, I mean, you really do got some brothers who feel like talking about your feelings is like soft somehow. I was
Right.
like what? Like if any, like walking around all day, you know, with all that pain and all that trauma and not opening up at all, that's actually weak because that's easy to do. It's
It's the
actually
easy
strong.
way.
It actually makes you strong to talk about like your feelings and
That's
like how
right.
you feel, especially if you like, like you married. Like I would assume that your wife, who is women are more on the more emotional side, wants you to share your emotions. But if
Right.
you got eons, and when I say eons, I really mean eons of trauma,
Right.
like just sitting in on you is just like, you really not helping anybody. And so, yeah, definitely makes you a strong person to be able to, to share your emotions, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And yes, and as the brother said, there are churches of Scientology all around the world. Like even in Canada, I go right to Toronto. Like all around the world, you can go in and get right.
Get right.
Okay, so moving on, can you share how you got into because you mentioned, okay, you left the service, law enforcement, but how did you get into like financial literacy, financial education? How did you get into this business?
Okay, yeah. So I think was it well, like 2022, 2023, well, 2021, 2022, I was really deep into like trading on the foreign exchange market, cryptocurrency, like, and I'm talking about independent, right? Because you got like the groups and all of this
Right.
stuff like that. And you got like independent trading where you actually studying and learning and applying and stuff. And so I was on that side of studying, learning, applying, studying the markets. Like I was really intrigued with the banks and Federal Reserve Bank, cryptocurrency, fiat currency. That's why me and Brother Mahdi got some ARC with that because because he's into that as well. Shout out to Brother
Right.
Far Mahdi. Y'all go check out his page. My brother's doing his thing.
Yes, sir.
But no, I was already like intrigued on that. But then my mother, shout out to Mama, she had got into business, started making a little bit of money.
Okay.
I'm like, hold on. I'm like, Mom, what you doing? Right. And so she was like, yeah, she was like, you need to come out to this event. I want you to come out to this event. It's in Memphis. It's like an hour. Memphis at the time was like an hour and a half away. And she told me, put on a suit. I ain't gonna be able to make it. But I want you to be my guest. So I'm like, all right. I was like, okay, Mama. And so I came down and yeah, man. I mean, I just learned some information that really changed my life. Like I saw, number one, I saw people who looked like me who, were making 10, 20, $30,000 like a month, like consistently. And that's like $100,000 in this industry is minimum wage. But yeah, like that's how I got started. But then what really started really making me like pique my interest was how the banks, like the banking system, they use insurance. And so they use insurance in it, the stock market and how it goes, hand in hand. And I was just like, hold on, like I was already in this world of trading and the markets and the S&P 500 and all these, interest rates. I was already in that world. So you mean to tell me like I can like affect other people? I've never even thought about it. And so I was like, dang. So I'm like, okay, wow. And I was like, yeah, I mean, shit, I ain't got no insurance. I don't have no retirement in place at all. And
Right.
I'm a pretty smart dude. I was like, I ain't got none of that in place. I was like, I was like, I guess this would be pretty beneficial. And so so I got started in business and, my mindset is kind of like, yo, whatever I do, I'm going to be the top professional. I'm going to be the top. I've always been
Right.
like that. When I
Right.
was a sheriff deputy, I was like, I was in the academy thinking like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be the sheriff of the entire, county. But like
Right.
now it's just like, look, I'm gonna take over this entire company and affect a lot of people in the community,
Right.
and so that's what we're doing.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Oh, you see my shirt too? Hold on, let me get ARC Finance. Stop playing. It
On
looks familiar. I
brand.
know it looked familiar. I know it looked familiar. That's the ARC triangle, but no, yeah. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So you mentioned the fact that you were in it, but you never actually, even though you were in, crypto and trading and stuff like that, you never were, you were not thinking about planning for the future per se, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Why is it important? Why do you think it's so important for us, like our age group, like millennials, to start thinking about the future and putting things in place now?
Boy, sister, you gonna tack on another hour on this? No, but no. I mean, boy, I mean, I give you, just to make it simple, people that, let's just keep it on our, just on, just for Black people as a whole. Obviously, work with every, every community, but
Right,
as a whole, Black people, like in our community, we are, in terms of education and just financial statistics, we're the poorest ethnic group in the entire country.
right,
No feelings about it, like that's just what the facts is. And so when you look at that, what how does that affect our families? What are we passing down to our children?
right,
you know if you got children and you're not financially educated whatsoever, you ain't got no retirement, you don't have insurance, you don't even have a lick of, you don't even know, like, you're going to pass that down to your children.
absolutely.
So now it's just like, it begs the question, how much do you care about them to get your stuff together? And
Right,
that's just the truth. And so, I say, we're not a financial education firm. That's cliche at this point. Like, I'm
right,
not trying to sit up and educate you. How do we apply this to your life so that you can start benefiting?
right,
Right. And so for me, I'm like a very direct, like, person when it comes to that. Like, I'm not trying to persuade, push, prod, convince. It's like, how do we
right,
apply this to your life? You're
right,
30 years old, you're 35, 40 years old, and you don't have any retirement in place. Let's just keep it simple, a 401k. You
right,
don't even have that. Right. But like, you got to start thinking about that stuff, because you plan on being 65 one day, 70 one day.
right.
Do you want to be 70 and be looking back and be regretting that you didn't take action because you were whatever? Or do you want to be 70 looking back like, yo, I am so thankful
Right.
that I was on Sister Ebony's podcast and I heard that brother talking about, I need to get it together. You know what? Let me go hit up my cousin who's been trying to talk to me for the past year,
Right.
the past 2 years. Because me personally, it's not even about like, oh, hey y'all, come on, hit my DM and follow me on Instagram so that you can so that I can sell you some insurance. Go talk
Right.
to your cousin who been
Right.
trying to talk to you for the past year. Okay? Go talk to your cousin who been trying to holler at you for the past year to get your life together.
Right.
That
Right.
you
Right.
that you've been ignoring, and when he called you, you put the phone down because he's trying to educate you. Like, go
Right.
chop it up with him. And the way I benefit from that is that because you listen to this, now you're getting up and going to go do it. I benefit from that because Allah sees that, right?
Right.
The universe sees that, and it's going to come back on me some way, shape, form, or
Right.
fashion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Real for real,
Right.
And
Right.
so that's just what I'll say is just start, just basic question: do you have insurance? Just ask
Right.
yourself that. That is important. If this business became really, really real to me, when I started realizing, dang, how many times in the Black community do we see GoFundMe's? Do we see fish fries?
Right.
Do we see, I call it panhandling. That's
Right.
me. Like, it is technically panhandling because
Right.
the resources are there, right?
Right.
We don't get in trouble for, I'm a cook for a second, sister. I'm very passionate
Cook.
about this,
Cook. Let
but
him
no,
cook.
but it's just like, like, we aren't, it's not, it's not 1865 anymore, right? It's
Right.
2025. We're not going to get in trouble for reading and
Right.
educating ourselves,
Right.
right?
Right.
So when you know that, there's no reason to be panhandling on Facebook asking for a handout. Can you support my family because we just lost XYZ, when you got people in the community who are trying to educate you, but because you've been taught that life insurance is a scam,
Right.
right? You don't want to, take action, and so to me, I consider that person mentally, unable. I'm gonna work with the mentally able person who knows that insurance is important. They
Right.
just don't have any resources because 6% of insurance agents are Black. So it's not a lot of us.
Wow.
So it's just like, that's what I say is just start with insurance, and just realize that it's a powerful tool that 5% of the country, only 5%, that's black,
Right.
white, Hispanic, who actually know how powerful it is, especially like when it, when you start mentioning the banks and how they utilize insurance to loan your money out and all of that stuff, which
Right.
would be another conversation. But yeah, I mean, the business became real to me because my mother wrote a policy on my cousin.
Right.
She was I think 36, 37-year old, a single mother of three, and
Right.
she was one of those mentally able people,
Right.
right? She wasn't trying to be an insurance agent. She wasn't trying to like sell no insurance. She wasn't, but she was like, you know what, Tyler, I need some insurance. I
Right.
got three children. She's responsible, and so fast forward, she got insured. I think it was like 200 something $1,000 in coverage and permanent coverage or something like that.
Right.
But long story short, she got insured, and she, tragically was killed. Right? She got hit by a truck out
Right.
there in Memphis, Tennessee. Right?
Uh,
But because she had insurance,
right.
her children got 200 something $1,000 tax free lump sum, and
Right.
because we have me and my mom, we're in insurance. We know how to help take some of that money, put it in an annuity, so that money is growing and accumulating year over year over year. So when they're 60, 65, they got $1 million. And it's just so much that our community does not know. And so if you're sitting in on this call and if you're sitting in on this call, the goal is not for you to come and work with me. The goal is for you to pick up the phone of the people who are trying to get in touch with you and educate you. Get in touch with them and connect with them so that you can be educated and protected, just like people in the Jewish community and the Asian community are. Oh snap! I'm on here by myself. Oh snap! Okay, I'm gonna say, boy, look.
Sorry about that. My
No,
phone
you're okay.
my phone also is on do not disturb, but
Dang, it's the devil.
my alarm went off.
It's the devil. Hey, look, he don't want us on here. He don't want us on here talking some good stuff. He don't want us on here talking, man. He don't want that.
Oh man.
He
This is
don't want that.
powerful though. This is powerful though. And it's so important. Like honestly, sorry, were you finished? Were you finished with
Yeah,
yours?
I'm
Okay.
good.
There are so many stories that I've heard just when I was, when I was learning about the business, so many stories that I've heard where there was this one story that stuck out to me where this girl who was learning about insurance, she ended up going to, now there's like this big craze of like getting like plastic surgery and stuff like that. So she went to, I think, Colombia or Costa Rica, some South American country, to get a procedure done. And she was also a mother. And literally her policy was in underwriting at the time. And she passed away on the table. And it was like her children were okay because of, and it was like a time thing. It was like she
Yeah,
got it at the right time. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah.
like, it's so important. And I think of like, okay, we drive cars and we have vehicle insurance. We have insurance on our home or on our apartment. And these things, these accidents are not guaranteed to happen. They could happen. They could not happen. It's pretty safe to drive in a car. It's pretty safe to live in your home, but like we are all going to die.
Yeah.
we're,
It's
we're all
just a
going to die.
reality. It's a reality. And I think like too, just speaking freely, like I'm not gonna say, because we can sit up, oh, black people weren't taught, that so and so. To me personally, that's like victim talk.
Right.
Personally.
Right.
Like that's kind of like what we, I know you've been studying the tech, but like cause and effect.
Right.
Like that's effect talk. Like,
Right.
oh, black people, we wasn't taught this and we wasn't so. Man, it's 2025.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna cuss on your platform. I'm done saying, what? So when but get your tail up and go learn. How about you
Yeah,
go
for
listen to the
sure.
brother who trying to talk to the person who keep texting you? Why don't you go respond? But we have in a sense been, we just some way, shape, form, fashion. We do believe that when we hear life insurance, we do think scam.
Right. Right. Right.
That's the fact. I did too.
Right.
When I
Right.
got
Right.
into business, I was like, man, look, mama, like, all right, mama. Like, I'm like, yes, ma'am. I'm like,
Right.
okay, but like, but me, thankfully, like I got up, I was like, oh wow, accredited by the the
Bureau.
Better Business Bureau.
Right.
Okay, federally regulated by the IRS, the SEC, the FTC, FINRA. Right, most people don't even know what that stuff is. Right, but Sister Zakia, assalamu alaikum, sister. But yeah, like we do believe it's in a sense is a scam, but it is our responsibility to get up and just go learn. I mean, it's that simple. Like I'm paying $80 a month for like $1.4 million in coverage. That's going to cover me for 20 years, right? We got people, and I didn't come up with this concept. I did hear it on Instagram, but it makes perfect sense.
Right.
Imagine, sister, and all of the people who are on here listening, imagine if, let's just say, all of our brothers who out here in the street, right? They ain't listening, right? They just doing their thing. Let's just say, for example, you got a 20-year-old and he out here in the street acting a fool, but he's 20. So his body physically is probably more on the healthy side because he's 20. And he's black. So it's naturally more very healthy.
Right.
And so let's just say, for example, responsible people are like, well, listen, you know what? I'm going to put away $60 a month, and it's going to cover him for the next 15 years. So from 20 to 35, when he finally start getting some damn sense at 35, maybe, he's covered with $1.3 million in insurance. Right. And now if he out here in the street and something happened and he's killed or whatever, the family's getting $1.3 million in coverage tax-free.
Right.
It's a contract between you and the insurance. But imagine if we multiplied that times every single, young black man in the community, though.
Right.
Then what happens? So now we start, oh, well, y'all need to come into our community and help us. And so they don't care nothing about what you're talking about. When you start playing with their money.
Right.
Then now it's a conversation. I didn't come up with that concept. I heard that on Instagram.
I've heard that too. No, I've heard
but knowing what I know about insurance, that makes perfect sense.
It does. Right.
So
because it's like it's all about the money with those guys. We know that, right?
So yeah, they don't care nothing about what you talking.
It makes sense.
Okay, nothing about you sharing. Like we talking about like our company specifically. We're a broker, right? And we're partnered with I think 9 companies that that have $500 billion in assets under management, right? $500 billion plus. So we talking about money. The folks don't care about the little posts that you talking about on Facebook complaining that the white man is so and so such and such. No, like go out here, get yourself insured. Right now, it's like a contract that they got to follow through with their word. But because we only have 6% of agents who are black, and people naturally do business with people who look like them and talk like them, how would you ever know? Right. So that's what I'd say. Pick up that phone. You don't now. If you want to get in touch with me, obviously, I got my handle right here, Jameel Best Official. Hit the link in my in my bio, send you to the website, and I got some webinars that you can actually watch. That'll that you can actually like learn. But even if you don't work with me, go work with somebody who's been hitting you up. That person who keep DMing you, who sharing posts on Facebook. Get in contact with them so that they can educate you.
Right. And you talk about the difference between, I forgot the word, but you said it's like financial education is cliche. You want to
apply.
So application. So what's the difference between financial education and application? How do you do the application part?
So like prime example, I ain't even really got into it. Like sis, when I say, I mean, like put in perspective, like my past 3 clients, my past 3 clients have been white since I moved here to Florida. My past 3 clients have been white. One of them has over $1 million in net worth, right, in construction. The whole fact of the matter is this: like you got education, right, and then you have application, right. Education is what I just did right here. Most people don't. I mean, I don't know, but from based off what I've been doing in business, most people don't have insurance. Most people don't know that they can avoid taxes on their retirement. Most people don't know. So I educate, but actually, hey, okay, what does this look like for Sister Ebony? What does this look like for Brother Mahdi? What does this look like for Brother David? What does this look like for Sister Zakia, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth, and so on? What does this look like? Okay, this is what it looks like. Okay, cool. Yo, how do we apply? I'm tired of educating. I don't educate. I apply. And I'm gonna tell you another thing I learned too. Is like one thing in our community that I've learned, and it's probably has something to do with just, with some of the traumatic experience that our community has experienced. I'm not making that as an excuse for us not to, but we have been through some things that other communities haven't. For sure. But what I will say is that, educating us and educating them on sometimes is a little different in the sense that when you start talking about avoiding taxes and somebody who's over $1 million in net worth, tax time ain't a good thing. For some of them. When you talk about making money, tax time ain't really like something I'm looking forward to. You know, folks look
Right.
forward to tax time. Oh man, I'm going to get $10,000 back in taxes. Some folks like, man, look, how can I write off some of these taxes? And so when you
Right.
start mentioning avoiding taxes, right? I still remember when I was in an appointment, like, yeah, is this for XYZ or is this for, tax-free retirement? I'm like, tax-free retirement? What? So now I educate them with 3 ways that money grows in America, the 5 homes of money and,
Right.
the tax brackets. I didn't, $1 million in that. I didn't know that.
Right.
What? And this is in the white community,
Right.
right?
Right.
Right. Wealthy people. Just because you got bread don't mean you know nothing about money.
For sure. For sure.
Okay, how do I do this? What does $2,500 look like? $2,500. What does $500 look like a month?
Right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I want this, and this. Let's go.
Right.
And right there is like, okay, I'm done educating. I'm gonna
Right.
educate you so that we can apply. I'm not gonna waste time trying to and it's not a bad, because ultimately, obviously, yes, you can make a lot of money in insurance, all that stuff, but it's really like, yo, we need to apply this, right? We
Right.
need more people in our community when things happen to family members. When these things, like, we need less GoFundMe sharing on Facebook.
Absolutely.
We need more, hey, man, this just, man, it sucks that this happened, but I'm so thankful that XYZ person was on top of their game and they was responsible.
Right.
Man, now we can do XYZ. Now we can put XYZ through college. Now we can put 100,000 in an annuity, and in 30 years, that's gonna be $3, $4, $5 million guaranteed.
Right.
Like, we need more of that application of educating you is that's null and
Right.
void, you know.
We have the internet these days, so it's like the education part is not that difficult. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate
Yes.
you seeing that it's different. Like one brush doesn't paint every canvas. You know what I mean? You have to have a different approach when you're coming to different communities. So I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so last question before we go. This
Sure.
has been a great show, by the way. Thank
Yeah,
you
I think
for
it's been amazing.
again for being here.
I told you, look, we finna go viral. Sis. Look, listen, we gotta get you. We finna get you viral, sis. All right. Look, we need to get this viral. Hey, look, all of y'all who watching this, y'all better share this for my sister. We gotta get my sister to go viral. Okay.
Right. Oh, there's a question. I don't know if you wanna.
Go ahead.
So the person's asking what kind of life insurance, and they said life insurance, whole insurance, accidental insurance. Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, so I strictly work with life and annuity. So life insurance, index universal life insurance, term life insurance, whole life insurance, and fixed index annuities. Obviously, you have, just to give you just a little bit of that. And like I said, if anybody is interested, please feel free, go to my Instagram at Jameel Best Official. That's the whole point. Is like with business automation and bringing your business to 2025, it kind of cuts down on time.
Right.
But like, if you're really interested in actually educating so that you can apply some of this information, go to my Instagram. It's at Jameel Best Official. Click my website. You're going to see a red button and a green button. The red button is the registration for the business expansion webinar. And that's like, let's say if you're interested in learning about how you can actually go and distribute and learn and develop, a business, and educate the community, watch that video. It's 30 minutes. But if you're just like, hey, how can I educate myself? This is actually interesting, bro. I want to learn this. Click on the green button. And the green button is a smart money webinar. You're gonna fill out a quick form. You'll get an email, and then you'll receive another email that'll have the actual webinar. It's 40 minutes. Take notes and learn. You ain't paid nothing. It's free. I ain't getting no data from you other than your email to send it to you, and go educate. So now, boom, you see what I'm saying? So like, now go apply, right? Go sign up for the webinar and go apply. But just a simple question like what Sister was saying, just life insurance and annuities. We're in the wealthiest industry in the nation. It's a $63 trillion industry. Anybody who could ever be an entrepreneur, business owner, there's no other industry that could most likely make you a millionaire than in the insurance industry. Only thing is that, a lot of people aren't really, I guess you'd say, like, willing to train you to be a competent insurance agent. And that's the problem. You know, you got a lot of, you know, certain things with like recruiting and stuff. And all obviously you got to recruit to build a firm, obviously. But it's just like you have to be trained and competent so that you can go and make money, which makes recruiting a lot easier. You
Right.
know, so yeah.
Okay, praise be to Allah. So last question that I was gonna ask. So scenario for you, okay? So 33-year-old starting from scratch. Let's say they lost everything in a fire, okay? They have nothing, they have zero. What would you say is the first, could be the first, and of course, obviously I know everyone's situation is different, but just generally here, the first step to them putting something away or thinking about their future, what would be the first step in becoming financially competent for the future?
That's an amazing question. Okay, all right, put me on the spot. Let me get my mind going. I mean, obviously, first before we even start, you know, talking about finances and stuff, you know, making sure that you're good, you know, like spiritually, because if you lost everything in the house, you know, that might, you know, that might have been, you know, a traumatic experience that could hold you back from even starting getting your finances in order. So if you're watching this thing and you know somebody like that, first things first, put them in contact with Sister Nair and Brother David so we can get them situated mentally, right? But then after that's taken care of, you know, simultaneously, I'd say, you know, just looking at what you know, what are the like most important, like what's your battle plan? Like, okay, how do I rebuild from this? Okay, what is the first step? Because you can probably have 25 different things going on at one time.
Right.
But there's a book called Problems of Work. The most important thing is like you can have 30 things going on at one time. That's one thing at a time. What's the first step? Okay, boom. Letting family know what happened. All right, boom. Getting that situated. If you need a place to stay while you're getting yourself together, then okay, boom. I got a little time on my hand. Maybe I need to go get a second job, right? Third job. Maybe I want to get into some sort of business or something. And then boom, okay, let me start. You know, let's say I don't have insurance. Here's a big key on this. Let's say term insurance, right? Like I said, I'm putting away $80 a month right now for $1.4 million in coverage. Me. Now, if I pass, okay, family's getting, you know, $1.4 million. But there's also something called living benefits, right? Where let's say for example, that person had insurance, something similar. He doesn't have to die to utilize that 1.4 million. It's something called living benefits. Let's say something happened to him in the fire. Let's say he was severely burned or knocked unconscious or whatever, and he got to be in the hospital for 6 months. He can actually access up to 80% of that death benefit while he is still alive.
Right.
To take care of medical expenses and any other expenses. What's 80% of $1 million? Right? That's 800,000. Right? I'm not saying that's what you get off rip, but I'm saying like, you know, simply educating. Right? Now I'm educated. Now I just got $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Now, how does that look towards rebuilding? So a lot of different ways, but I think, you know, you just one step at a time. You just handle it one step at a time. Right? That's the biggest thing. I don't know if that was a real situation. Is that a real scenario? Oh, but yeah. So I would just say, just handle it one thing at a time. Right? Like if it's me, first things first. Okay, this just happened. All right, look, mama, look, might need to come sleep on the couch for a little bit. I gotta get myself together, one step at a time. Okay, now I'm in the couch. All right, hey, look, Sister Nair, you know what's some court, you know what's some stuff I need some, you know, I need some locationals or I need some whatever. How, you know, can you help me with that? Get myself situated. Then boom, 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 until eventually, okay, hey, got my credit together because I work with Brother Mark, right? My credit's good now. All right, boom. Look, this happened. All right, look, it's time for me to go get me a new spot, right? Maybe I'll get me a place to rent. I stayed with mama for 3 months. You know, like that's just how my mind worked. But then, I mean, it's just I could go on for days, but basically, it's just one step at a time.
All right, well, that's it. You shared where you are. You could just do that once again, so people know where to find you if they want to reach out. And I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for this episode. It was really great. And yeah, let the people.
Yes, ma'am. So, like I said, just so everybody knows, you go to Jameel Best Official. You see my handle right there. That's why that's one thing I learned is like anytime we're on a call or anything like that, I'm putting my you know my social media handle on there. Go on there, click on the link in my bio. If you want to follow me, go ahead follow. I got, you know, one of the members of my team who helped me with my, you know, help me take my personality and apply it to social media because I suck at social media. But click on the link in my bio. It's going to take you. I sound like a social media influencer. But click on the link on the bio. It's going to take you to arcfnd.org, financeanddevelopment.org. And if you want to learn more, click on, if you want to learn more about how you can make an extra $1,000, an extra $2,000 a month in business, click on the red webinar. That's going to take you, and that's going to teach you a little bit more about the insurance industry. If you're like, hey, listen, I'm already a successful business person, but I'm a part of the 95% of people who don't know how the banks are utilizing insurance and loaning out money and collecting interest on my money and then giving it back to me. I want to become my own bank. That's not a cliche term. I want to learn how to apply this. Click the green link. And that's the smart money webinar, and it's actually going to educate you. And it's me on there speaking. It ain't like some random person. Like, it's me on there speaking, really going into the ins and outs and of insurance and how certain people have been left out of the conversation. And just side note, listen, business automation in 2025, you are not automating your business. This is the side thing. You're not finding a way to automate that business so that you can be focused on other things. You really should be looking into that. So I want to shout out my executive assistant, Cassie, because she is just like taking our business and really blowing it up. And so that's part of our system. So definitely go and click on that. It's free. And if you like what you hear, schedule a follow-up appointment with yours truly. My mom is also a trusted person who I send appointments out to if I don't have the time. But yeah, schedule a second appointment and we'll talk business.
Alrighty, sounds good. So you know where to find him. I pray that this episode was great for you all and informative. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the replay, and have a great day. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.